I just want to start off by saying shout out to my son who's not here today, but I'm only able to breathe and to be on the stage because of his breath. So shout out to little Cory somewhere home. Well, I'm giving shout outs. I also want to say peace to our brothers and sisters who are still inside. And I know personally, I've been trained and taught by so many brothers and sisters who are still inside, so shout out to them too. You know, black people can't get a mic without saying shout outs, right? So today, I'm in my role as an organizer for the Center for New Leadership on Urban Solutions, and the center is the nation's first and only public policy, research, advocacy, and training center developed, created, and designed by formerly incarcerated leaders that represent every discipline from trans parenthood to law. And today I'm just going to reproduce a couple of stories that many of us have already heard, but it's really important to kind of like work through repetition. Because repetition, when we watch things or we hear things more than once, we hear something different. So I'm gonna tell another story or a similar story about the center. So the work that we do at the center is really, broadly speaking, is to dismantle the criminal punishment system while simultaneously building the social, political, and economic power of individuals and communities most impacted by incarceration. And for us at the center, we see these struggles as interconnected. It's the founding principle of our organization, and it's also a framework from which our theory of change works. And you know, we believe that when we think of mass incarceration as a reformation or iteration of chattel slavery, we understand that people who are impacted by incarceration, communities who are impacted by incarceration, are also hurt and wounded, and that it's not only about us dismantling the system, that we need deep healing as well too. So we believe that we must transform and develop and heal individuals, bring community power back to communities most impacted, and also reimagine the systems and institutions that govern our society. We believe these things must happen simultaneously. And this theory is built on over 40 years of political strategizing, political organizing by formerly incarcerated and currently incarcerated leaders, our family members and supporters, both inside and outside of prison. And many of you probably are familiar with a study that took place in Greene in the mid-70s by the Greene think tank. And this study is now called, or known as the Greene seven neighborhood study. And this study is really some of the origins of the Center for New Leadership. Our founder and late president, Eddie Ellis, was a part of this group. We definitely gonna bring Eddie in. I'm going into the story about Eddie in a minute. But I wanna highlight really 4 quick things about this study. So in the 70s, one of the findings and analysis was that 85% of the people that was in prison were either black or brown. And that 75% of them came from 7 neighborhoods in New York City: East New York, Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, Lower East Side, South Bronx, South Side, Jamaica. And also that these 7 neighborhoods was also the same neighborhoods that was most structurally and politically disinvested. So underfunded schools, mass unemployment, poor access to health care, rampant drugs in the neighborhood. So what the link was for the men in this study group was saying that these neighborhoods that are most structurally disinvested produce the kind of like policing that leads and feeds the prison industrial complex. And from that analysis, it said that we cannot reform or abolish prisons without simultaneously bringing power back to those same communities. So for our organization, we was developed on that. And then I'm going to, which leads me to a story, and an opportunity to bring in one of our ancestors and our founder and president of the Center for New Leadership. When Eddie was out, Between 2002 and 2005, he was doing work in the Open Society. And he was in many policy conversations around what programs are useful, what is reentry. You know, this was in 2002, so a lot of conversations were going on. And the people in those conversations, mostly white men, was telling Eddie that they're like, yo, your analysis, the way you critique things is like really different. I mean, you know, and it was really, and I'm trying to exoticize his wisdom. And I remember Eddie telling me, he was like, yo, it was really important for me to reject that notion that like me as an individual was unique, and I knew that people who lived through this experience had an analysis that people who was at the policy table didn't have. Right. So what happened was, Eddie proposed an argument to them and said that, like, listen, if you give me the support and resources, I go around the nation and build with other formerly incarcerated people, and we create a leadership team of formerly incarcerated people, and that can reproduce the things that you think are unique to me. So in closing, what I would say is,